A very good afternoon to all of you. Uh, in last few classes, that means last two classes, we have studied about plasma formation or how plasma is formed. And also in the last class, I have shown you the schematic diagram of plasma arc machine and what is the working principle step by step, that also I have explained. And I have told you about two terminologies. That means we have to produce an arc by using two methods. So among those two methods, I have discussed this, that is transferred arc type as well as non-transferred arc type. I have given you an insight of the difference between this transferred archetype and this non-transferred archetype in terms of construction only. But in today's class, initially, we will start understanding about the differences, all the differences of transferred archetype and non-transferred archetype of plasma gun. I said that in case of transferred arc, we can perform this process only for the material which are electrically conductive, as we have to connect the negative terminal of the power supply with the electrode and the positive terminal of the power supply will be connected to the workpiece. But in the non-transferred arc type, as you can notice, we have to give connection to only the electrode and the nozzle. So we are not supposed to give any connection with the workpiece to the power supply. Because of that reason, we are able to machine even the materials which are electrically non-conductive. But we have discussed that the thermal efficiency in case of non-transferred arc type will be limited to 65 to 75%, whereas in case of transferred arc type, we will have efficiency in between 85 to 90% range. And moreover, we have discussed also that what will be the power requirement. I said that nearly 1000 ampere and 200 volt DC will be required for this. Now, let us come to the differences. Okay, I will expect every one of you to note down these points, as these are very important for exam point of view. So just make a table that transferred PAM and non-transferred PAM. Right? Non-transferred PM. Now, point number one, serial number you can give point number one. Point number one is, in case of transferred PAM, the arc is established between electrode and workpiece, as I have mentioned already. Okay, the arc is established between electrode and workpiece. But in case of non-transferred arc, non-transferred PAM, as I mentioned, that the arc is established between tool and nozzle, right? So I hope this point you understood from the diagram itself. So if this question comes in exam, You have to draw these two diagrams, that is number one. Then one by one you have to start explaining it. So first point, I hope you people have written, and I expect in today's class that you people will give some response also. Response in the sense whether you have written it or not. I'm not going to ask any question. Have you written it? Noted down? Can anybody respond?
Yes, sir.
Done. So shall we move towards the second point? So moving ahead to the second point. So similar way, we have to write transferred and non-transferred. So serial number 2. Serial number 2. So in case of transferred one, the workpiece is part of electrical circuit and heat is obtained from anode spot and the plasma jet. Okay. So what I said, the workpiece is part of electric circuit and heat is obtained from the anode spot and the plasma jet. Okay, clear? And I hope you know it, because the plasma only will act as a channel. It will only act as a conductor, right? Right. In case of non-transferred one, the workpiece is not a part of electrical circuit and heat is obtained from the plasma jet only. Noted down? And so this is the second point. Because of this reason, why transferred arc is having more efficiency, I said 85 to 90%, because the anode spot as well as plasma jet both are producing heat in this case, and because of that we will have higher energy or higher amount of energy which is getting transferred to the workpiece. But in case of non-transferred one, as only the plasma is hitting the workpiece, that's why there will be less energy transferred to the work or workpiece. I hope it is clear to everyone. Have you noted down? Have you noted down?
Yes, sir.
Third, third point. This you might have heard about plasma welding also. I said already that laser, electron beam, as well as plasma, they are used for machining, that means cutting operation, as well as welding operation. Now, which of these two processes are suitable for welding? You know very well, we are having the requirement of heating and melting the workpiece. Okay, and it should be consistent and it has to be it should give good efficiency. That's the reason why transferred one can be used for welding and non-transferred one is generally used for cutting operation. You write in details that transferred mode or transferred one is used for welding and non-transferred one is generally used for cutting operation or machining operation. Okay. Now, next one. Why we use this for welding? There is a reason behind that. Okay. So coming to the fourth point, that in case of transferred one, we can achieve higher penetration is obtained. So thicker sheet can be welded. Okay, but here the penetration will be less. Note down. Okay, so here penetration will be less, here penetration will be high, and because of that reason we are able to weld even thicker materials. But here we cannot go for any kind of operation with thick materials or especially sheets. Now, as I said, fifth one, efficiency is more, and here efficiency is less. Have you noted down all these points? Have you noted down?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So few things like that I am not showing here. Uh, you can just go through the electron gun, or not electron gun, plasma gun. And I feel like there is same thing which you'll understand very easily. That means the diagram which we have drawn in the last class, the same thing only will be there. So it will not be difficult for you to understand. Now, the next step, we will move ahead to the next step. Next step is what? Steps of operation in PAW. Okay. So steps of operation in PAW. So what are the steps which we need to follow? You know very well that for cutting operation as well as for welding operation, in general, with all these advanced machining processes, we need to clean the job properly, especially for operations where the workpiece is electrically conductive, and we need to establish some electrical connection between the workpiece as well as electrode. Now, here also, similar to that, we need to do some initial operation, that means cleaning of the job. So we have to clean the workpiece. Okay. Then, in case of welding, especially, I am talking about PAW now. We need to do some preparation for the joint or preparation of the joint. You know very well that in case of welding, normal, you say butt welding. You know butt joint and lap joint? I hope so. Yes or no? So you know very well that this is butt joint. That means both will be kept closer to each other, and here we may have to make some group, either V or W or single V, double V. Okay, single W, double W. I think in production technology subject you have studied this thing. Yes or no? Let me take some attendance, whether you people are listening or not. Let's see. Roll number 64. So preparation, I think you know very well what is this butt joint. So there the single V, double V, okay, then single W, double W, those things you might have studied. If you have not studied, you just go through it. It is very important for you. And so similarly here also we need to do some preparation of joint. And then the third thing is we need to think about some fixtures, okay, or holding devices. That means holding the workpiece with fixture, okay, holding the workpiece in fixture. Next, the next one is the setup of parameters of parameters. Anyhow, we will study about all these parameters, okay, in details. So I hope you understood it. Now there are some uh, influence, or we have to initiate the arc. So how we are going to initiate the arc? Initiation of arc. Initiation of arc. So how to initiate? So in this process, number one, if you want to note down, you just note down. Number one, in this process, the arc cannot be initiated by touching the workpiece and electrode. Okay. And here we have the influence of the nozzle also, right? So you know very well, already in the last class I said how plasma is formed. So the same method has to be applied in this case. Because of that reason, a low current pilot arc will be established in the constricted inner nozzle and electrode. Just I'll show you the diagram so that you people can understand in a better way. Well, here, I hope you people are able to see it. So I said that the arc cannot be initiated by touching the, so this workpiece and this electrode, it is not touching to each other, right? So somehow the arc will be generated and it will be released through the nozzle towards the workpiece. And initially a low current pilot arc, that means only one arc, something like a spark, that will be created in between the nozzle and the workpiece. Okay, and in between this, right? So here one pilot, this is called pilot arc, okay, will be produced. Now after the pilot arc is produced, or this pilot arc, let's just I'll tell you how it is initiated. The pilot arc is initiated by the use of high frequency AC or high voltage DC pulse, which is be superimposed on main welding current. Okay, so we can generally initiate it by the use of high frequency AC or high voltage DC pulse superimposed on the main welding current. Then it causes the ionization of the orifice gas, so the gas which is traveling from the space, and high temperature also will be generated, which will contribute in easy initiation of the main arc between the electrode and the workpiece. I hope you understood it. You understood or not? So ionization also, how it is done, I have already discussed it. Okay, so here the gas, From here we are giving supply. So gas will be coming to this orifice, and here ionization will take place. How ionization is taking place, I already discussed all the it. And once it is ionized, this will act as a channel which can conduct electricity. Hence, the pilot arc gets generated, and after that, the remaining things, complete arc or complete plasma, which will be coming and will be directed towards the workpiece. Okay. So after this main arc is initiated, okay, then the pilot arc may be extinguished. Okay, I hope you understood. Now, I said this process can be done by using some filler material also. So the filler material can be added similar to TIG, tungsten inert gas welding. There also we use filler gas, filler material. So here also we have to use filler material. The next, we have to move the welding torch. So this is the welding torch. We have to move it manually or automatically in the direction of welding. And actually there are two types of techniques, okay, for machining. One is keyhole type of technique, another one is non keyhole type of technique. What I said, keyhole type technique, and another one is non keyhole type technique. So in keyhole type technique, due to constricted arc, high temperature and high gas flow, small weld pool with high penetration is obtained, which will have you can say the penetration will be nearly 100%. Keyhole type technique, I am saying. So what happens in keyhole type? You can note down that in keyhole type, due to constricted arc, high temperature, high gas flow, okay, and small weld pool with high penetration, which is up to 100% to the width, can be obtained, and that will result in complete melting of the base material beneath the arc. Okay, so that happens in keyhole type. So as the arc moves forward, then the material gets melted and it will fill the hole which is produced due to the arc force. I hope it is understood too. And the keyhole should be filled approximately in the end of the welding, and then the power supply and the gas flow should be turned off, and after the operation we have to allow some time to cool and clean the workpiece, and then some post processing if it is required, then we have to go for it. Okay, so keyhole type, as I said, like it has to move in this direction, so it has to completely, like keyhole, you know very well, it is something like this. Already we have studied it in case of this electron beam one. Okay, EVW, so there already I have discussed, right? Now same thing can be established over here also. So this is something which you need to remember. Now, next one is equipment and consumables. Equipment and consumables. So already you have understood that there is a requirement of power source. There is the requirement of plasma torch. There is requirement of filler material and also requirement of shielding gas, which are actually inert gases to be precise. Okay, these things are very important. Okay, now uh, coming to the power source. So power source, as I said, that conventional DC power source with drooping VI characteristics, you know very well, voltage versus current. Okay, drooping VI characteristics that is required. Then we can use generators like a rectifier or generator type power source can be used. You can note down rectifier or generator type power source can be is used, but mainly this rectifier type, that only we generally prefer or we give more preference. And the general voltage or general range of open circuit voltage and current will be 60 to 80 volt and 50 to 300 ampere respectively. Okay, so open circuit voltage should be this and current should be this, right? So this is about the power source. I hope you people understood. Now coming to the plasma torch. So in the plasma torch, we will have non-consumable tungsten electrode, inner nozzle, which is constricting nozzle, and outer gas nozzle. So these three things already I have shown in the diagram. And the torch has to be water cooled in order to avoid the heating of the nozzle. And that can be two types, which is transferred as well as non-transferred arc type. Already I have discussed about transferred and non-transferred arc type of torch. Coming to filler material and shielding gas. So a filler material is used in this process similar to TIG, and in MIG also sometimes we use, but in MIG we use consumable electrode. So filler material may or may not be used in MIG, but TIG we generally use, and here also we generally use. And regarding the shielding gas, selection of the shielding gas is dependent on the material to be welded. Okay, so you have to remember it. The orifice gas must be inert gas in order to avoid contamination of the electrode material. Now, active gas can be used for shielding, provided it does not affect the weld quality. And in general, the orifice gas, okay, is the same that of the shielding gas in general. Okay. Now the mechanism of removal already I have said, but I would like to discuss it once again. Just a minute. Just want to give you some idea about this mechanism once again. Okay. So I already said that melting and vaporization, that is the mechanism in this case. So the metal removal in plasma machining is basically due to high temperature which is produced in the workpiece. And already I said the heating can be will be the resultant of anode heating due to the direct electron bombardment as well as the convection heating from high temperature plasma that will accompany the arc. Then the heat which is produced is sufficient enough to raise the workpiece temperature above its melting point, and the high velocity gas stream will effectively blow the molten metal away. Okay, just a minute. Okay. So what happens? This is the nozzle I have said. So some high velocity air is coming. So here the plasma will be formed, and this pressure only will allow it to move in this direction in case of especially non-transferred arc type. It is very, very important. So under optimum conditions, up to you can say approximately 45% of the electrical power delivered to the torch is used to remove metal from the workpiece. And coming to this, before we move ahead towards the application, this plasma arc cutting was primarily employed to cut metals that are, so you can say like a refractory material or refractory oxide outer thin, and the arc is concentrated on a localized area of the workpiece, and it rises to its melting point. And definitely the quality of cut will be affected by the you can say like heat flow distribution. If the heat flow distribution is proper, that case we can means we can have excellent quality of the produced material. Okay, now so this is something which you need to know. Okay, now parameter. Okay, parameters. What are the parameters? What are the parameters? So parameters can be classified into three categories actually. Anyhow, I'll be discussing in very short because mostly things I have discussed, but few more things which may come in exam also. So number one category is those which is associated with the design and operation of the torch. Second one is physical configuration of the setup, and third one is environment. So what I said, number one, design and operation of the torch. Number two, physical configuration. And number three is environment in which the work is performed, right? So already I have discussed about the torch. Okay, and how it should have a high power density, high temperature, velocity, which can be raised. So these things already I have said. So these are something which is very common. I have discussed about non-transferred and transferred arc mode, but there are few more things which you need to know. Those are turbulent mode and laminar mode. Okay, already in FMHM subject you have studied. And laminar mode, right? So just I'll finish today's class with these two topics only, and then design a plasma torch, and the third point which I said, environment, Okay, so those things I'll be discussing in the next class, and some general considerations also are there. Okay, so that also in the next class we will be discussing. So what happens in turbulent mode when high velocity flames are required for material removal by you can say like that melt blasting and spraying, then the gas flow rate increases, which gives rise to the turbulent jets, and this is used. And these flames are somewhat short in length and arc, or you can say like these flows. These things are somewhat cold, you can say, and it can be used for cutting and thick, not thick, less thick, that means thin welding, and also spraying operation. It can be used. In case of laminar one, when low velocity or long flames are required, we use this laminar mode. Okay, so low gas flow rates are maintained in long nozzle in order to obtain laminar flame, and this is used wherever the processed material is not to be sputtered out, or when you can see like the molten drops are undesirable in this case, then only we can go for laminar one. So here the flame velocity can range in between somewhat 50 meter per second. Okay, flame velocity, and the length can be somewhere around, you can say, 900 mm. That can be achieved in case of laminar one. Okay. So in the next class, as I said, we'll be discussing about the remaining topics. That means the physical configuration. Then we'll be discussing about the environment. Then general considerations. We'll also talk about applications. Okay. So these are a few things which are left. Now, if anyone has anything to ask, you can ask me. So is there anyone who has got anything to ask? I think next you have got the heat transfer class. So if anyone has anything, any doubt, you can ask me. Okay. I'm here for another 1 minute.